Right. So I hope we are now live on both YouTube and LinkedIn and also on Zoom. So great to see everyone join us today. It's going to be a wonderful session. We're going to be having a Learn It Live webinar today, and you're going to be designing your first product MVP with Miro live. And that's something that we have not done in quite some time. And we hope to see a lot of enthusiasm from your side as well. So like I mentioned, if any of you have joined us now, you can go ahead and introduce yourselves in the chat, and we would love to hear more from all of you. I can see a few introductions from YouTube and LinkedIn. Hi, Lakshmi, joining us from Chennai. Then there's someone joining us from Bangalore. So many people. I'm not able to read out all the introductions, but if anyone joining us from Zoom also would like to introduce yourselves, please go ahead and let us know in the chat. All right. Okay. So, hi, Stella. Thanks for sharing your introduction with us. Great to see you today. We're going to be, like I mentioned, talking a lot more about product management today. I'll quickly take you through the ground rules of today's webinar. So if you have any questions, please put your questions in the Q&A box. This helps us answer all of your questions towards the end of the webinar. And use the chat box effectively. Please refrain from sharing any external links in the chat box. We would like to keep the conversations relevant to today's webinar and the topic that we are discussing. And for your certificate of participation, we will be sharing a poll towards the end of the webinar. Once you fill up the poll, you will be receiving your certificate within 48 working hours. I hope this clarifies a lot of queries that we get around certificates. So that's about it. And before we begin, I'm just going to take 2 minutes of your time. I just want to know if all of you have attended webinars with Simplilearn before, or is this your first time? You can let me know in the chat. If you're joining us from YouTube or LinkedIn, you can go ahead and let us know in the chat as well. I'll keep a tab on that. So I can see a few first timers. All right. Is anyone joining us for the second time? Anyone, any repeat joiners? All right. From LinkedIn also, a few people who have attended webinars with us before. So great to see all of you join us back again. It's wonderful to have you with us. So if you are new, I'll quickly tell you about Simplilearn and what we do. We transform lives by empowering people with digital skills, and we do this through courses. And currently, we have helped over 8 million learners advance their careers across 150 plus countries, and we do this through global partnerships. And even in today's webinar, we're going to be talking about AI-powered product management professional program that we are delivering in collaboration with UCST. And we have a POC from UCST joining us today as well. So we will talk about that in detail in the coming slides. And a few pointers that we wanted to share with all of you, something that we're really happy about is most of our learners have reported a 50% salary hike on completion of courses with Simplilearn. And we have also been rated 4.8 out of 5, and we have a graduation percentage of 80%. So this clearly speaks about the kind of learning experience that you can expect with us if you decide to join us for any of the programs. So moving on, I think I'm really excited to talk about is I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge someone who plays a very important role in bringing programs like the AI-powered product management professional program that Simplilearn is delivering in collaboration with UCST. So we are joined by Nathan Owens, and he's the Associate Director of Strategic Initiatives at UCST Division of Extended Studies. Nathan isn't just part of the university leadership team, he's also an alumnus of UCST and has been contributing to the Division of Extended Studies for over 2 decades now. That kind of long-term commitment says a lot about both his experience and also his belief in the impact of these programs. So Nathan, it's really great to have you with us today. Would you like to share a few words about yourself and also about how our learners can benefit from courses with UCST?
Thanks very much for that introduction. Hello, everybody. My name is Nathan Owens, and I am with UC San Diego's Division of Extended Studies. The Division of Extended Studies is the professional and continuing education arm of UC San Diego. So our primary audience are those working professionals that are looking to either grow their personal or professional skills to further their goals, whether that be to develop new skills out of personal interest or to advance their careers. And so that includes important courses like this product management course, which can help you and others develop these critical skills that might be needed in your career. If you're not familiar with UC San Diego, we are one of the 10 campuses within the University of California system. And the UC system is probably the most well-known and if not the largest public university system in the United States. UC San Diego itself was founded in 1960. It has while it's a comprehensive university, it has particular strengths in research, doing almost $2 billion a year in R&D. And those strengths are particularly in the life sciences and in engineering. As a result, a lot of that engineering work, it is a key part of the local economy, having generated over 1,000 spinoffs and feeding a lot of the local biotech, defense contracting, computer, software companies based here in San Diego and also nationally and globally. So I am happy to be here and be part of this program. We've been thrilled working with Simplilearn and helping to create opportunities for the students to learn these critical skills. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nathan. I'm sure that our participants have a good idea of what they can expect from courses provided by UCSD and how they can benefit from it as well. And you clearly mentioned the kind of, I'm pretty sure everyone knows about what a great university it is to be a part of. So we're going to cover that in the coming slides towards the end of the webinar. So please stay tuned with us till the end. We're going to talk about all of that in detail. And now it's also my absolute pleasure to introduce someone who lives at the intersection of product, technology, and also transformation. So we have with us our guest speaker, Luke Mace. I'll just quickly tell a little bit about him. So Luke is not just a seasoned product leader. He's also a Fortune 500 business and engineering leader, a transformation coach, and also a startup advisor with over 2 decades of hands-on AI experience, long before AI became the buzzword that all of us know today. And what I personally find fascinating about Luke's journey is the depth and range of his work. And from expert systems at Intel to machine learning to financial risk modeling, there's a lot that he has done, and it's real life experiences that he's bringing to this webinar. He also has led major agile transformations at some of the biggest institutions in the world. In fact, he was part of the first agile transformation at Capital One and even co-invented an enterprise agile product at American Express. So that's real lived experiences, like I mentioned, and not just theory and frameworks on the slides, right? And what makes this even more special for today's session is that Luke started his career in QA and transitioned into a product management, which means he also understands what it truly takes to pivot, grow, and also design webinars, products that matter. So Luke, we are genuinely thrilled to learn from you today. I'd love for you to start by sharing a little bit about yourself. I'm sure everyone's waiting to hear more from you.
That sounds great. I will grab the share screen now to move on to the next slide, and we can begin. As she mentioned, I've had a lot of years of experience, and so that is where the wisdom comes from. I do want to point out that wise decisions come from a lot of experience, and that experience basically has to do with making a whole bunch of bad decisions. So as I give you advice here, as I tell stories and stuff, as long as you append to everything I say, do as I say, not as I do, you are going to be very successful in your career. And with that, we'll jump into what today is all about, and that is the MVP, the minimum viable product. And before that, though, she mentioned artificial intelligence, and it's on everyone's mind. It's kind of the elephant in the room. So, is this going to be taking my job? What's going to be happening? How much AI do I need to be bringing into my own job? It's not going to do all of those things. Kind of the exact opposite thing. Software is not going away. Development is not going away. Engineering is not going away. You can feel confident in that as long as you understand what's actually going on. For many, many years, there's technology, then there's new technology. Every generation, it's things have come along, and there's been somebody who was predicting that this stuff is going to go away. This new technology is so much better. In the end, though, everything is still there. Spreadsheets were going to replace accountants and accounting software, and it didn't. And that's because businesses still have structured workflows. They have compliance. A blank spreadsheet doesn't have all of that. You still have to know what to put in those cells so you can add it up at the bottom and figure out what your bottom line is, or you have to know which things are important and which things are not. Mobile apps came along, and that was going to get rid of software. We're not going to have computers and laptops anymore. Everything's going to happen on the phone. That didn't really happen. Software companies basically just added mobile devices as another channel, and then they kind of moved along. So the point is, hasn't died yet, and probably not going to go on. Low code, no code tools, they're going to get rid of developers. We don't need to program anymore. We can just do this. Nowadays, it's natural language. Same thing. Dentists are not building their own dental practice management software. Not because it's not possible. Absolutely, with the help of AI, you can build code. It's just you don't know what you don't know, and that's what the dental practice management software people do. So something did change. What changes each time something comes along is basically where's the bottleneck. So just a year or two ago, it was the cost of production. It's expensive to create software and get it out there, and that's not the case anymore. With some of these tools, you really can fire something up and get it working. But there is another bottleneck, and that's judgment. Knowing what to build and for whom to build it, and why you are building it. That is the bottleneck today, and that's where things like the MVP and especially product managers, that's what we bring to the table. It's an end-to-end understanding of what's going on. Most people, up to and including that business owner, that dentist, or that accountant that's running their organization, they know accounting in and out. Running an accounting business, however, well, that's something else. So the death of software, the death of developers hasn't happened yet, and Probably it's not going to. Things are definitely going to change, but what's changing is the thing. So now to that MVP, the minimum viable product. It's one of those terms that everyone knows, so everyone uses it, but sometimes they don't really know as much as they think they do when they use that term, because it's not just a small piece of code. It is something that you're putting out there to answer a question. It is the minimum amount of viable, that is enough to get the idea across. It does not even have to be actual working code to be your MVP. It's just when you're rolling out software, you're making some assumptions, right? Every product starts with a belief. We believe that there is this problem, and most importantly, we believe somebody will find so much value that we're going to be able to generate some revenue from that problem, and we believe that people will want to use this software in a certain way in order to get that value, in order to justify that money, in order to make this whole thing work. So the key word is assumption. So minimum, what can you get there? And the point is, it's not the whole thing, so it's usually just a smaller version, but it does not have to be. So Airbnb, for instance, they didn't build a marketplace. They didn't build what you see now. They just built a website, and in fact, they just put up their own apartment because they were testing one assumption. Would strangers pay to stay in somebody's house, some random person's house? Everything else, the rest of the business came later. But that was enough to prove out that that first belief that we think people wouldn't mind doing that kind of thing. So understanding how the users actually behave, that's the thing. Will they do this, or will they say, no way, I'm walking into some stranger's house and sleeping on their couch or in their spare bedroom? So that is the minimum viable product. So reducing waste by building only what proves value. That's the point of having the MVP. You don't have to put everything together. You don't need credit card billing. You can have an 800 number, or you can have your cell phone number, and somebody can call, say, yeah, I do want to buy this. And you can take care of that manually if that's not really a big deal to your business. If you're a bank, probably that is part of your business, and that does need to be built. But for other products, that's not the thing. So Dropbox is the example, or the best example, because they literally didn't even have the software. Their MVP was actually just a video. They just created a video that explained, this is what it is. Everyone's running out of space on their computer and they don't know how to get it over to the other computer. So we're going to have this place where you can put your stuff. And 70,000 people signed up from that video, gave their information. I'm interested. I'd like to find out more. And next thing you know, they're making a lot of money. But they validated that demand before any software, with not a single line of code. And then finally, the MVP, it's there to make decisions based on evidence, right? everyone has those assumptions, everyone falls in love with their product. That doesn't mean everyone else is going to fall in love. So you have to figure out with some data. So Uber, as an example, they didn't create the whole thing. They didn't roll out to the country. It just started in San Francisco, where they were very limited fleet of cars, but they're testing a hypothesis there. They were testing their belief that just like hitchhiking, somebody wouldn't mind getting into a stranger's car. And by the way, when I remember when that first happened, and I was like, this is crazy. Who's going to do that? People don't hitchhike anymore. That's just not part of our culture anymore. Well, I was wrong, and I didn't invest, and look at me now. All right, so we're going to be using Miro today, and they were the first of the companies like that to call themselves an infinite canvas or an infinite whiteboard. That's what it is. A lot of competitors have come along, but they're kind of the first ones, kind of one of those brand names that has stuck, and that's kept them going for a long time. But it's all about collaboration. Before we had the internet, certainly before COVID, a lot of people were kind of flip charts on a wall or a whiteboard on a wall. That's how we really got a group together and talked to each other and collaborated. And this is the virtual representation of just that. Now, and so that's the real-time collaboration. If you grab the whiteboard pen and from me and you start drawing on the board, we're collaborating. We're creating this albeit ugly picture on the wall that's working things through. That is Miro's claim to fame. Now, one thing I do need to tell you, one thing that I actually realized as I was putting this presentation together, and that is they've actually changed. This is about MVP, and I want to do a prototype, and that used to be free. They removed access to their Miro prototypes feature from the free and educational accounts Q3 of last year. There are competitors. I hadn't been using Miro for a while, and so I bumped into that. That said, though, you do not have to worry, because I am going to be able to do the same thing without that paid account, so that you know how to do it if you decide to fire up Miro for the first time today and get that free account yourself. So I just wanted to show you, this is actually a video from the Miro YouTube.
Screen to our board by clicking and dragging this screen component. We can add more elements like buttons, input fields, text boxes, and whatever else we need by dragging them onto our screen. Each of these components is customizable. Once we've created a few screens, we can create navigation paths between them. For example, we'll select this next button and click and drag this connector to our second screen. This will create a clickable element in the preview mode. We'll select the screen and click the preview button in the toolbar. Notice how we can now scroll through the content and navigate between screens using the hotspots we created. This gives us a realistic view of how our prototype will function, so that we can get feedback, test it with customers, and get a feel for how the final product will look.
So what he just showed you, and the full video actually is again on the YouTube channel for Miro. If you're interested in watching some more, they've got a whole bunch of videos like that where they show you what's going on. But the way that prototypes work is you have a mock-up of your design and you click on a button and it does whatever the real live software will do when you click the real live button. So I'm going to show you how to do that in a free way, and it's going to look just like that. We're going to click on the button and it's going to move. I'm just not going to demand that you charge or you pay the $20 in order to see that. Okay. Now we're going to go through the steps of an MVP, and specifically how we're going to use Miro in order to accomplish those steps. The demo is going to be a fake circumstance, but it's one that you have already run into, probably if you're in the development world at a company, or you're about to run into that. And that example is management walks up and says, we need an AI product. Already been approved. We've got funding. Let's go build it. Hopefully, or like I said, you're going to bump into that. And the problem with that, it's not the AI. AI is fine. It's a great tool. The problem is there's a solution they want in search of a problem, right? They want this thing. They're not creating any value at this point and not even planning on it. It's just, we want something like that. So the cart's before the horse, and product management, we run into that kind of thing a lot, but in this case, it's everywhere. So we're going to figure out what the customer needs by going through 5 steps. Our scenario in the demo is going to be a law firm, but any industry is applicable here. So the 5 steps are identifying the users, validating, mapping the journey, clarifying motivation, and defining the primary user. So slowly then, one at a time, identifying the users. There's somebody that's going to be clicking those buttons at some point. And you've probably heard the term UX to talk about all that. If your product, the person that uses it is the person that's buying it, then it's just all straightforward. But oftentimes, in addition to CX, in addition to UX, there is CX, and that's the customer experience. So to go back to the accounting software, there are people in the accounting team. There are accountants and junior accountants and analysts that are clicking the buttons inside that software. Those are the users. The UX is what they're doing. That's their experience. The CX is whoever's cutting the check, right? There's a management team, probably. There's an owner of the company. Their experience is likely not clicking those buttons, right? They're the owners. They hire the people that click the buttons. And if you don't make that distinction early, you can end up really, really solving a great problem and providing value to this group of users. However, you're working for a company, you're trying to generate revenue, and the person that's cutting the check may or may not be so impressed. So that's why that's so important. Research and validation. I talked earlier about the hypothesis that you're trying to test in this MVP. Need to dig down and really find out. There is a motivation there. There's some pain that you're trying to solve with your product, but you really need to dig down and find what the real pain is. Just because somebody's complaining, that's not necessarily pain. A lot of people just like to complain. Mapping the journey, we're going to be using a tool called a journey map, and that will be self-evident there. I was just talking about motivation and pain. There's the initial identifying, and then there's some diving deeper into it. We're going to use a mind map for that, by the way, in Miro to kind of go through that process. And then finally, something that's oftentimes overlooked, and one of the reasons why MVPs don't actually work out so well. You're focusing on one problem, one hypothesis to test. You also need to focus on one of your users. You're going to have multiple users and customers, but in an MVP, to have a successful MVP, you're narrowing that down too. So in our demos case, we have the client, right? The person that needs the lawyer at this law firm, and we have the paralegal. So there are two people identified there, and we're going to focus on that person that's working in the office as the user. The client is still another user, and they will be part of this MVP. But by zeroing in one user, one hypothesis, that's how you have a successful MVP. And while I'm at it, I might as well roll out the reason that I thought this would be a good example is partially because of all of the excitement about AI and how everything's going to be changed. One of the things, besides programmers, that is talked about is we're going to get rid of lawyers. We're not going to need any lawyers. Well, there is a law firm, and they had a case. Mata versus Avianca is the name of the case if you're interested. But what they did, the paralegals and the attorneys got together, and they created a legal filing, a legal brief that they sent in to the court. Well, the court, the federal judge that got these papers, freaked out, sanctioned the lawyers. That is, their law license is now in jeopardy. Fined them thousands of dollars each, because there were judicial quotes, but they were fake. There were internal citations, and there were case numbers, case law that was applicable. It all looked great. It's just those case numbers and those citations, they were all made up. It was an AI hallucination. Now, I hate that term personally, AI hallucination, because it implies, like a human is hallucinating, that they're living in a fantasy world. That's not what AI did. AI is, at the end of the day, another tool, another piece of software, and that software did exactly what it's supposed to do. It generated answers through its probability engine. It's just, it didn't have any structured data that was in the neural network already that it could use, but it was programmed. The algorithm was supposed to generate something, so it generated something. And it looked awesome, by the way. And you'll run into your hallucinations. AI comes back with something that just looks so good. If it was a human, they obviously did their homework, because how could you put something together that is so exactly what it's supposed to be? And so you just kind of send it along, because it's got to be good. And that's not the case. AI models are generative pre-trained transformers. Generative, they create something. Pre-trained, they've read every law book and every article and everything they could get their hands on, and so that it's in there. It's pre-trained. However, it may not specifically have what you're looking for. So AI should draft everything. That is the new technology, just like a spreadsheet. If you see an accountant with a pencil and paper, you're kind of freaked out. What's going on? Why aren't you using a spreadsheet? That's where everything is going with AI today in corporate America. It should draft, but a human should verify, at least today, and our solution will do a much better job. And for everything else, there are new tools, add-ons to these GPT, generative pre-trained transformers, that are going to help out a lot also. But there's a failure mode there, and that is this program, this algorithm, this system, far from sentient. It's just creating what it's supposed to create. And sometimes it doesn't have the full information to do that. All right. So as we're ideating and brainstorming, there's a process here just to kind of, we start with expanding, thinking outside the box, brainstorming, and we're going to end by shifting from that kind of divergent thinking to some discipline. We're going to zero in on things, start big, and laser focused. So thinking out, expanding thoughtfully, and focusing on outcomes. What do we want to do? What is the goal, the SMART goal? But what is it we're trying to accomplish? As we're doing that, as we're figuring out the solutions, just remembering that everything should be, every feature should be testing that assumption. Are we able to do that? And it needs to be something meaningful, something that we know our user base really does actually want. As we're looking at things right from the beginning, there are core things. This must be done. This is the secret sauce. There's things that are supporting, that is, they lead into those core things. And then there's some things that are experimental, that system doesn't necessarily have to have this, but it's cool and we ought to do it. For an MVP, by the way, the experimental stuff is usually pulled aside because it's the minimum viable product that we're working on. And then finally, and I mentioned this at the beginning, we're brainstorming, no bad answers, but at the end, we do line out the bad answers. So we want to narrow that down to something very specific. Next is the third of 5 steps that we're talking about, prioritizing essential features. There are lots of frameworks to use when you're prioritizing. Moscow and Rice are a couple of specific ones. Rice is reach, impact, confidence, and effort. And if you use those, not just this feels like the right one, but actually put some numbers together and mathematically say this one really is the right one. That's crucial. You fall in love with your product, and nobody wants to be told they have an ugly baby, and you certainly don't want to tell yourself you have an ugly baby. But sometimes babies are ugly, and we need to figure that out. Keeping it minimal when you're prioritizing. So the things that were the experimental things, those are way out. Some of the others also. We just want to get to that M minimal, but keep it viable, MV, in our product, P. And then finally, embracing learning. Along the way, you're going to find things out. It's a real good idea to write those down, by the way, so that you can tie these learnings to the outcomes and figure things out. You can have that aha moment and know what is important. Anytime we're lining something out and deciding not to do that, you do need to put that on a parking lot. You do need to have a list of stuff that we're not doing today, but we will do it in the future. Sometimes that's, oh, we're not going to do credit cards. Well, that's fine for your MVP, but eventually you don't want to have thousands of phone calls with thousands of credit card numbers. It's going to go in, but at a later date. Okay, the fourth of 5 is building that prototype, and that's what we're going to be doing in Miro for this particular MVP. An MVP, though, does not have to be software. Sometimes, in some cases, in order to prove out a theory, you really need to have your software, just the first version with not all the bells and whistles. But sometimes prototypes like we're going to do today, which is just the look and feel, this is what does this make sense? If I click here, it goes there. Sometimes, like in the Dropbox case, it's not software at all. That was just a video. The point is, it's a testable version, though. It is that minimum viable. How is it that we can get the idea across about this hypothesis that we want to test and prove out that we are indeed going in the right direction? All right, and then finally is step 5. Rolling it out, testing, collecting the feedback, and then the very last word, iterate, is so important. Not just that that's what you want to do, but that you get that idea across, and in the corporate world, you get that idea across to your boss. Sometimes when you don't do that, you end up, I had to make a little adjustment here. Had one of those days yesterday, actually, and spilled coffee on my laptop, and everything is fine. We've got our presentation, but this morning I realized that my laptop does not, my control button on my laptop is not working. So sorry about that. Anyway, early adopters are the ones that you're looking for. The fanboys, they are called. The Japanese have a special word that I can never remember. But the people that are excited about your product or excited about solving this particular problem that your hypothesis is focusing on. Those are the ones that you want to find. You want to gather that feedback and somehow visually present it. Helps you think, but more importantly, it radiates the information. That whiteboard, when Agile first rolled out the Scrum and the Kanban, we put cards, actual paper cards, on a whiteboard with a magnet. That was how it, and we called that the information radiator. It seems like a little thing, but it's dramatic, the difference. You know, the boss comes in, are you guys working on anything at all? And the point is, you are working on something. The boss just had no idea what it was that you were working on, and just having those cards on the wall was a tremendous advantage when Agile first happened. So I wanted to make sure there aren't any questions in the chat. I can't see the chat while I'm doing my thing. I don't. Is there anything going on there? Okay, because if not, we are going to fire up a browser and pull up Miro. Now, if you don't yet have an account, you haven't been trying it out or working with it when you are when you're at work, I very much encourage you to do so. Right now, the sign up, I actually signed up again yesterday, just to make sure that I didn't have an old account and somehow there's some functionality, some feature that's no longer available because my trial ended up, and it only took me a minute, like literally a minute, because they have the integrated login thing. So I just used a Google account and magically everything was filled in, so I didn't have to fill too much stuff. It asked me who I am and what size company and that kind of survey stuff at the beginning, but I just clicked through that in a minute. So this is what you see, miro.com. And your first board is named My First Board, which you can go and change later if you would like. But that is the look, and it is a whiteboard, and it's what's referred to as an infinite whiteboard. So the idea is you don't have one whiteboard for well, in our case, we're going to do a mind map, we're going to do a customer journey, and we're going to do a demo, an interactive demo of the user experience. We're actually going to put all of that on this board. So we're going to put one of them here, and another one over here, and another one here, and we're going to zoom in and zoom out. For those of you that are very organized, that can feel frustrating. You can actually put layers on there if you want to make sure and separate this one from this one in your head, so it doesn't explode if that's your personality. But the idea is everything stays in one place. And that way, as you're interacting, as you're communicating, it's all there. Nothing gets lost. You can actually create, you can see on the left side here, this bar, you can create things. The first one, formats and flows. When I click on there, you can create diagrams, tables, timelines. The first one is prototype. And as I mentioned, when I click on this one, it says, hey, pay us 20 bucks. So I'm going to show you how to do it without paying the 20 bucks. If you have a paid version for yourself or through your company, go ahead and use that one. We're going to make exactly the same thing though. The next one is templates. So they have some built-in things that have already been created both by Miro as a company and then by the community. There are some people that live every day inside inside Miro, and they actually have something cool and they will post it out there. It's a marketplace. Some people charge for their stuff. Some people just give it up for free because they want to share with the world. And a whole bunch of other stuff, shapes and drawings. And at the bottom here, tools, media, and integration. That's the one that we're going to be using as well as for doing our prototype. Like I mentioned, it's infinite. It's supposed to not have any edges. So over here in the lower right, you can zoom in and zoom out. You can see I'm zooming in. The squares are getting bigger. And then you can zoom in and out, so you can see all of your areas, or you can just zoom into this one particular area. If you have a trackpad, you can do the usual pinching and expanding. If you want to move left and right on the trackpad, two fingers will move you left and right. Or if you're using the mouse, the right click on the mouse is the thing to use there. I have a trackpad, so that's what I always use. And that is it. There is a main menu up here with the three dots, the hamburgers at the top for some other kinds of things. This particular style of user experience, it's not normalized, so there's some things you can get to from the menu that you can also get to from the side, and not just there. It might be in multiple places on the side. So don't let that confuse you in any way. You'll be able to get to the same place multiple different routes is the point. So it's not it's inefficient in that way, but that makes it more efficient for actually using the software that you're using. So with no further ado, then we'll start out with a template, and I'm a big supporter of mind maps. So I'm going to use a mind map, and you can see when I put one there, it's just giving a framework. That's what you find inside these templates. There's lots of frameworks there. You can build your own also. This is a whiteboard. So, if you wanted to draw your own square or rectangle, you can draw your own square or rectangle. I like using these because they have little things like tips and reminders, something that I might not remember or know how to do. So it starts out with this sample node, and so we'll just fill in this sample node. So if you were with your team and also just by yourself, just to get your mind straight about it, the mind map is a great way to zero in on what it is that we might be doing. So in this case, for our example, so this is a law firm, and we need an AI product, right? That's where we're starting. Make it prettier here with the background. That's a frame, and we'll actually be using a frame later. A frame is, as the name implies, just something that goes around some stuff so that when you grab that frame, all of that stuff moves with it. You don't have to use a frame. It's just a good way to do things, because oftentimes you want to move stuff together. See, if I grab just that node, then I can just move that node all by itself. So if I was to copy that and move it over there, but the rest of it was here, this way you have that option. Anyway, it's an AI product. We know that we are a law firm. We know that we have lawyers, and we know that we have paralegals, and we know we have a accounting team. If I click on the little button here, I can create another. I can create a line, and I can take that line and I can attach it somewhere else. Everything is automatic like that. Just a visual way of looking at things. It's the same exact thing as using paragraph format, chapters, using bullets. This is just in a visual way. And if you recall, when I explained what we want to do, putting it visually seems like a trivial thing, and we don't really have to do that. But it helps so much in understanding, helping others understand where it is, how you got from A to Z. So in this case, we would be interacting. And as a matter of fact, I could go ahead and share. I'm going to copy the invite. And I'm going to paste it into the chat. If you want, you can go in there. We will I did a Control V for paste, but my control key doesn't work. So I have another keyboard over there to do that. We would be interacting. People, you can add something. I didn't give you the privileges there just in case it gets too crowded, but go ahead and go in there. The point is, we know what's going on there. We figured out. Now I want to talk about what are the pain points. I know that we can have hallucinations, right? I know that during the intake process, it takes 45 minutes to intake. That is, somebody might have even filled out all the stuff online, but oftentimes they come in for their meeting with a lawyer. Got to sit down with them on a tablet and have them type in all of their information. And sometimes my name is Luke Mays, as you probably see in all of the stuff, but actually my legal name is Richard. Richard L. Mays is how I sign my name. So most of the time you call me Luke, but every once in a while I talk to the lawyer or I talk to an accountant or I'm at the bank and they need to know my name, and sometimes that's not a note. Bad addresses are sometimes entered. They write it, but they don't put the avenue, and we can't get a hold of them. For legal documents, everything needs to be in there. So you can see how I can add more stuff. Hallucinations have multiple things. I'll just show an example. Case numbers we talked about. This is how you would do that. You would be you put this together, you meet with 5 or 6 people, and then later you meet with 5 or 6 other people. You can use this very same thing in order to do that. So that was the mind map, and that's the method that you use. You're interacting, you're communicating, you're jotting down the information. And I'm a big fan of mind mapping. You can do it lots of different other ways. In fact, now we're going to talk about a customer journey. I'll choose the one that that's the Miro, but you can see there's something called Essence. There's something called Julia Cowan. Julia Cowan put together a question board. So you get to choose any one of these. You can also create your own. So there is my I wanted to put that actually underneath the other one. So I'm just going to undo that and then add another. Oh, it looks like somebody got in and did their own there. Perfect. So just like in a just like with a there, I'm going to put this over here away from the other one, and then we'll zoom into it. Just like a whiteboard in a conference room, right? You have it at 10 a.m. and somebody else has it at 11, and they might erase whatever you're doing. The customer journey map, we're working on it here. We have versioning that's built in here. So if somebody comes in and deletes it or writes something else, you can get back to where you were going. That's what I wanted to mention. So a customer journey map answers some questions. We have a flow here. The customers discover us, they register with us, we onboard them, and then we hope that they will bring in their friends and family. That's a standard funnel for a customer to go through in a company. So we'll just use that default. You can do whatever you want. What I want to point out is that we have these things, these sticky pads. So this is what are the key goals and needs. And I'm going to write AI product. We can also make the letters a different size so you can see them better. You can see how I can make that big. But the concept here is this is a Post-it pad. So this is a note that I want to stick on this part of the board. We need an AI product, and we want to minimize hallucinations. And I'm going to leave that one small because I'm almost certain I misspelled that one. But But once we have that there, we're having a conversation. Other people are adding these Post-it pads. Over here, if you click on this, it's a sticky note, and I want to put a black sticky note right there. They are resizable. I can put this note and it's underneath, but I'm going to right click on this one and send to the back. And now the other one is on top of that one. So maybe I wanted to put multiple ones together and put a box around them for emphasis. Again, we're just going through, this is how you would use Miro if you're going through this process. I wanted to show you this process though, because this thing is magical, and it is this column right here. See, you are going to be showing this to your boss. And so customers are going from one step to the next, right? And you can see how we have these faces in here. This person is having a great time. So you would actually be able to justify with data if you had surveys, if you just have comments from your users or what have you. But you can see right here, this person has no idea what they're doing. Their head is exploding. And this one is, they're wondering, but they're not sure. This one, they're there, but they've got a little bit of frowny face. But we get some data and we find out that that they're feeling something different. You can change the emoji. That's taking a while. Oh, there we are. And this person is actually pretty happy at this point. And we can attach another one instead. Whoops. So this is the magic. This is what I wanted to show you. It seems silly, but when you bring to an organization, to your boss, or just to everyone, the data from your surveys, unless they are an engineer like me who likes numbers, maybe they'll read it, maybe they won't, but they're not going to get an insight from just a piece of data. However, if we start out not so happy, we're kind of midway, now we're happy, and at the end, remember visual presentation. This, when you send it to your boss, they actually understand, right? They didn't read the numbers, they never do, but this part here, this is the best presentation methodology that I have come across. I have had lots of surveys in the past, and they were pretty horrible results until I started using the customer journey map. So that one is just an amazing thing, and I wanted to share that with you. Now let's jump into the actual prototyping. If you recall, what the prototyping was, the $20 add-in, was that you build something, you click on a button, and it actually does what that button was supposed to do. So over here, well, actually, before I get started, I mentioned the frames. We're going to be building two pages. We know that a customer comes in and they're going to have some information that we need from them, which is name and address, legal name, all those things have to be validated. And then they also need to tell us what's going on, right? So the first part, we're going to want to do that on a tablet. So I just created a frame, and I explained before, the frame is just basically a background. And then I'm going to duplicate that frame so that I have two of them that are approximately the same size, right? So I have frame one, and that's going to be the intake form. When a customer at a law firm is the client, when they show up, we need to get all that information. So there is this prototype add-on, remember? But there is also a prototyping library. If I open the prototyping library, we have all kinds of parts here. So I'm going to grab a tablet. When I clicked on it, we ended up with a tablet here in our frame. So I will, actually, before I do that, in the example video I showed you, in the example video that I showed you earlier, there were, they had a black background. So we'll give ours a black background. And now we have our tablet. So I'm just going to put that in our black background. And I'm going to call it intake. And I need to make that quite a bit bigger so I can see if I spelled that right. Aha, I sure did. Now, again, this is an interactive thing. So everyone is there looking at what I'm doing on the screen or here. At the same time, we've got initially that, well, somebody else has grabbed a button. We will make that. Oh, I need to zoom in there. This is a tablet. So we have our button. And this is a submit button. And by the way, the intake form and our other form are basically the same thing. The first one is the first one is the intake, where somebody writes it up, and the second one, and that's for the client, and the second one is for the paralegal, who's actually going to be validating what's going on. So I'm just going to create another one here. And this button, instead of intake, I'm going to call it approve, right? So we have we have our paralegals view of it, and we also have our client's view of it. Whoops. Right. Now, besides all of that, the client needs to enter some information, right? So there are some fields. And there's some bigger fields. And now we'll zoom in so you could see. I'll make this one city, so they can type something in and search for their city. But for the state, I'm going to make that a pull down, right? So we know that there are only 50 states, so we give them only an opportunity to do that. But in the city, we can give it a lookup kind of thing. I hope that makes sense. Again, you will be doing this with your team. This is you're facilitating this as the product manager, but this isn't your product. You are just putting things together. So we remember, we go up and we look and we go up and we look and we remember that that there was a problem with people not having their name. And so in the course of going through your stuff, you're actually adding in there. Well, now instead of having a name, what we want to have is a set of things like this that are, I remember I needed to make that bigger, so I'm just going to do that right now. Okay, so that's the intake. And now when we submit, here is the secret. We're going to link to. So I'm going to my second screen and see where it says link. I'm going to click here on this frame, and that's a link to that second frame. So I confirm that. And now we have our two. So I showed you that video, and you remember in that video, it was, I click on this and I see the next page. Well, we just did that. I'm actually going to add two buttons here because we have our approve, but we also have our back. So linking the back button to this frame, now we have the same exact thing. You saw the video. That wasn't me like giving you some, that was there. That was Miro's video. Here is my prototype. I click on my prototype and I'm here at validation. If I want to hit the back button, I'm back to the intake. So now we have a working prototype. We have an interactive prototype. So you're not just explaining, well, we're going to have to submit and then it goes over there, but when it comes back, because your words may or may not be understood. And that's actually the next part, the AI part. We have all of these forms here, and then we have this AR part, and this one is just free-form text, right? It is, why are you here? Well, I got into a car accident, blah, blah, blah. Their problem is these people tell their story. The paralegal has to write it down, and then the paralegal has to condense it so it's understandable. Then the paralegal has to go and get case law or whatever needs to happen, right? There's a whole process. That company before, they just took whatever AI did and they kept it. And that ended up with them possibly losing their law license. So what we're going to do is have this validation. That is the whoops. I did it again. Not used to not having a control key. Well, gonna copy that. So that is our product, by the way. They didn't have one of these before. Now the paralegal has this. There we are. The paralegal has this. I'm just grabbing these as we don't need that. So over here, they're going to get the same information, but we're going to have a that information with validation. So I will make these oh, that's not what I wanted to do. You see how I put a checkbox in there? Let me get closer so you can see. So so what's supposed to happen here is that they type something in there. And over here, I've got a checkbox on on this one. So some validation is done. That is indeed their legal name. Now see, there is not a checkbox on state, not a checkbox on city. And so now the paralegal knows that something is wrong here. The computer said something is wrong with this static data. And then over here, this is the AI summary that was generated. And that other law firm, they just accepted what they saw, and they got into a lot of trouble for that because it was not accurate. So I am going to add, that thing was, I'm going to move this here, first of all. I am going to add a simple, my computer's just catching up. That's annoying. There we are. I clicked that too many times, I'm afraid. That. So what we have is a mock-up of a solution where the customer comes in, here is our AI stuff, because that's what management wants and that's what management funded. After it is there, it goes through validation, human validation. These things are all programmatically checked for us, but this one here, when the AI comes with its summary, some human is actually going to click on approve. If something is wrong or that human does not, we can go back and we can update our stuff. So you can see interactively. You could explain this in an email, and if you've never done that before, you're like, oh yeah, they're definitely going to understand my 32 paragraphs of detailed what's going to be there. In reality, though, nobody ever even scrolls your email. If it doesn't show up in the first 3 lines, it's not going to get read. But something visual like this, where somebody can actually click on the button, and they can actually click on the button, that prototype is make it or break it. This kind of thing in both the interaction and the ideation and in the analysis, is this right? And are we going to get approval for it? It is just amazing. We zeroed in on what the problem is that we're trying to solve, and this now we bring to the lawyers, we bring to the paralegals, and say, we already have this. We want to arrange it because I want to add an AI summary. And then when the customer is done, excuse me, it was here. When the customer is done with the intake and they hit submit, we are going to have another page just for the paralegal where we're going to have some checks, make sure their legal name is correct. And we're also going to have an AI summary, but we're not going to show it to the lawyers and we're not going to do anything with it until it's actually been approved by a person. If this were to happen, if I were given this, what do you think of this? You know, I already have one, but I don't want to take up all your time. There needs to be a name underneath approved, right? It actually has to say John Smith approved that for record keeping and such. So that was the live demo. And we are at the top of the hour. But there's still some, you know, we want to go through a couple more minutes. So I'm going to give it back to the team here. Make sure you put comments in there. But why don't we go ahead and have the rest of the performance?
Sure. I'll just quickly share my screen as well. So I hope my screen is visible to everyone here. So right now, Luke has given us an amazing demo of Miro, and we hope that you guys also use this in your work life and have benefited deeply from this demo. So we are not going to take much of your time because we understand that we have extended the session by quite a bit. So we are going to talk about an AI-powered product management professional program that is delivered by Simplilearn in collaboration with UC San Diego. So there are some key highlights. Again, I'm not going to dive deep into any of this. So like Nathan spoke in the beginning, you know the importance and how prestigious of an institution UC San Diego is. So you do benefit from this advantage if you choose to be a part of this course with us. We also provide 100% hands-on learning. So you will be working on 5+ projects and 20+ assignments and 10+ case studies, because we do not want this to be just a theory-based course. You will be completely equipped to become a product manager by the end of this course. And we also have a Gen AI powered toolkit as a part of this program, because our emphasis is also on AI and innovation. And finally, you are also going to learn AI product management, which is a key skill that is going to differentiate you from all the other product managers out there. And talking about your learning path, these are some of the modules that are going to be covered as a part of the program. And again, I'm not going to dive deep into all of these aspects. I'm just going to briefly give you an idea of what is going to be covered. So you're going to start with an introduction to product management, and then you will move into insight to impact, defining a problem and delivering an MVP, about which you might have gotten a good idea from today's webinar. Then you're going to work on building a product from PRD to execution. And we will also cover technology essentials and AI product management as a part of this course. Finally, towards the end, you will be launching a product, the metrics, go-to-market, and financial strategy. And our team will also provide you guidance on how to become a product manager. And this is from the career guidance team. And we will also end this course with a capstone project. This is something that you can add to your portfolio and share it with anybody. If you're appearing for an interview, if you are starting something out on your own, this is something that can greatly benefit you as a part of the program. And here on the screen, you can see some of the major tools that we cover as a part of the program. So there's Figma, there is Miro, Jira, all of the popular tools out there. We are going to cover all of this, so you can definitely have confidence on the kind of coaching that you or training that you're going to get as a part of this program. And we have top mentors from this industry that are going to take sessions for all of you. On the screen right now, you can also see some of the top skills that are covered as a part of this program. So I'm not going to dive deep into it again, because I know that we have extended the session by quite a bit. We have a QR code which you can scan. This will take you to the landing page or the course page, and you can go through the details and reach out to our team in case you have any other queries. And finally, I'm going to quickly tell you just a few points on why you should probably choose this course with us at Simplilearn. So first is the technical capability enhancement. So this is not surface level training. So like I mentioned before, we are going to focus on hands-on skills, tools, and practical applications. And we want you to not just understand concepts, but also to use them throughout your work life, right? Second, FlexiLearn. We understand that most of you might be working professionals. So flexibility is something that we give a lot of importance to. So you get instructor-led training, but also the ability to learn at your own pace. And third, we have mentoring sessions. So this is also where real growth happens. So you're not just learning by yourself. You will get guidance from industry practitioners who have done this for their work, who bring in a lot of insights and not just theory. And finally, the learning support. So we have a structured academic support throughout the journey. So if you're stuck anywhere, if you want any support, you can always reach out to our team, and you will have help at every step. And we are also quite confident about the kind of content and the course experience that we provide. So definitely, please feel free to go to our course page and take a look at some of our testimonials. And even on the screen, we have some of our learner experiences here. So Christina, she's currently working as a territory manager, and she clearly talks about the experience she had with us, especially the hands-on approach that I was just talking about, and the group projects, and also the kind of experience she had with our trainers and the insights that she got. And additionally, Justin also completed his course with us, and he highlights how he has benefited from our career services, something some of you really want to know more about. And I got a few questions around the same. So we just want to let you know that we address all of these aspects, and we also will ensure a good learning experience throughout your journey with us. I have a few questions from the audience about the course fee and the program investment that they have to put in. So for Indian learners, the course fee is currently 1,99,999, but you have the option to pay this in installments as low as 8,955 per month. And for our US learners, the course fee is $3,800, and you also have the option to pay this in installments. And our team will be able to help you more in terms of the installment options out there. But again, to everybody who stayed with us till the end, consider this an investment, because this is going to impact the rest of your career, and we are here to provide you the right kind of guidance along with UCST, because you already know the kind of prestige that this university brings in. Right. So with that, I think I'm going to start the first poll. So if you would like to enroll in the program, I'm going to quickly launch a poll, and you guys can respond to that because we will not be able to answer all of your queries regarding the course and what is covered in a webinar because of the time limit that we have. But if you would like to know more, our learning advisors will be more than happy to share details with all of you. So please go ahead and give us your responses in the poll. I can see your responses come in. So I'm just going to keep this poll live for a minute. And in the meantime, if you have any additional questions, you can go ahead and ask us in the Q&A box, and I can pass on those questions to Luke. And I don't think there are any other questions that we have not addressed in the chat, but if there's anything else that you would like to know, you can go ahead and let us know in the chat or the Q&A box. All right. So I'm going to quickly end this poll now, also because we are in short of time. Again, if you guys want more details about this course, we will share the course link with all of you. You can go there, check out more details about the course. the duration of the course, and when the new cohort is starting, so you can join in as well. With that, I'm going to quickly end this poll right now, and we will move on to the poll that has been anticipated by a lot of audience, and all of you have been waiting for it from the beginning. So the certificate poll, I'm going to launch the poll right now. So please go ahead and share your full names in this poll. So this is mandatory because this is the name that's going to appear in your certificate of participation. And let me clarify that you will be receiving the recording, the slide deck, and the certificate of participation together via email. And in case you are joining us from LinkedIn or YouTube and you have stayed with us till the end of the webinar, you can always mail us at webinars@simplilearn.net, and we will be able to share the certificates with all of you as well. And in case any of you who have joined us on Zoom is not able to view the poll, again, you can mail us at webinars@simplilearn to receive your certificate of participation. All right. So as you guys are filling up the poll, I think I would also like to take this time to thank both Nathan and Luke for such a wonderful session. It was really nice having both of you here. And I think I would like to wrap this session up with one question that I usually ask all of our guests. So Nathan and Luke, could you share one piece of advice that you would like to leave with all of our participants who have joined us today?
Sure, I'll go ahead and start with that. The the important thing to remember is that everything that AI is doing, it's doing from the training data that it learned from. So by definition, it's always looking in the past. So something new is not going to come out of it. It's going to come out with an awesome answer, something that maybe to you looks like it is brand new, but it's really just thinking back to those trillions of data points that are inside that neural network. So insight and innovation and imagination, that's not in there. And that's what's going to make the difference for you. Product management specifically, when swipe right, swipe left came around, that had never been done before. So whatever the next big thing is, AI is not going to come up with it. It's going to be some human that's like, oh, why don't we swipe right or swipe left? Just remember that, and you won't be freaking out about AI taking your job. Thanks.
Thank you so much for that, Luke.
Well, I'll take a little bit more of a broader perspective here, and it's coming from a bit of a biased viewpoint as well, but that's to stress the importance of lifelong and continuous learning. No matter where you are in your lifelong journey, there is always opportunities to grow, whether that's personally or professionally. And so opportunities, whether it's this course or something else, I think always keeping a mind open towards areas where you can always learn more, and that can grow you as a person, help you in your career, generally experience the world in a better way. And being with extended studies, I've seen people benefit at many different ages, whether they're before college, still in high school, taking additional courses, or even after their career has ended and they're retired, there's still opportunities to learn more about the world out there. So always keep a mind open to new opportunities to learn and experience new things.
Right. Thank you so much for that, Nathan. And I think it applies to a lot of people who also join us, because some are really hesitant after a certain point if they should continue or not. But that was some great advice that you've shared. And I hope all of you apply this throughout your life as well, both shared by Luke and Nathan. So with that, I'm also going to end this poll right here. In case you have missed out on this poll, you don't have to worry. You can always mail us at webinars@simplilearn.net. And I would also like to take this time to thank all of you who have stayed till the end of today's webinar. You have been a wonderful audience. We received some questions. We are not able to take up all the questions again because we were quite tight on time, but next time we will try to answer all of your queries. And in case you have any feedback or suggestions, feel free to mail us at webinars@simplilearn.net. And it was great hosting you guys, and I really hope to see you all in the upcoming webinars. So with that, I'm going to end this session. So everyone, thank you once again for joining. And Nathan and Luke, thanks once again. It's been great hosting you.